No chemicals or preservatives, just 100% honest to goodness hickory smoked meat.
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
Boy, some chicken wings have really hit the spot.
You ain't got no better food, like some chicken wings, some baby back ribs, some fries or something?
It's just two guys talking, am I right? We're just talking.
Hey, howdy, hey. It's Mike with Fat Guys with Smokers. You may notice that John is missing because he's in St. Jeezy and keeps sending me videos and pictures of deliciousness that he's enjoying down there on business. And it's 81 degrees down there. So, sucks to be me right now. Just kidding. So it's just me. I'm going to have some helpers. I got a really sexy camera lady making faces at me behind the camera. So what could go wrong? Today we're going to make some tri-tip on the Weber. I haven't really decided whether this is a tri-tip video or a Weber video, but we're going to kind of send it with both. So stay tuned. This is going to be epic. All right, what we got here is we have a tri-tip from Costco. I like getting tri-tips there because it's relatively cheap. It's kind of an expensive cut of meat. I mean, as far as cuts of meat go, I guess it's not that bad. But one of these is going to feed my family. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cook one of them today, and then we're going to cryovac the other one, put it in the freezer, so that next time I get a hankering for tri-tip, I'll just have it ready to eat. All right, we're going to do this one. Okay, and we'll vacuum seal the other one. I'm not going to do a ton of trimming on here. Some people like to. They get after it. Now, I'm just looking for any loose, scraggly bits, and I'll take those off. Any of this kind of excess hard fat here, we're going to take a little bit of that off. Some people will trim it until you can't see any fat. I don't mind a little bit, but this is going to be a hot and fast cook, so it's not going to be one where the fat's going to like render. So I'm just going to trim it up a little bit, not a ton. And then I don't like to use a binder. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to use a binder. I have nothing against using a binder. But instead what I do, we're cooking on the Weber today, like I said. So instead of using a binder, I'm just going to kind of put my rub on and let it kind of sweat here for, I mean, see what I mean? That's probably good for me. I'm not going to get too crazy after it. I am going to just kind of let it sweat. Now, one thing I want you to notice, if you've never cooked tri-tip before, notice kind of this little seam right here. The grain kind of changes direction right there. So right here, the grain's kind of coming at this angle like this, okay? And then it gets a little bit steeper right here. So when you go to trim this, you want to kind of take note of that and almost like cut it in half, because we'll go like this way, and then here we want to go against the grain going that way so it's nice and tender. Okay, so today what I'm using is I just have some Holy Cow from Meat Church. I'm a big fan of this on beef. Obviously that's kind of what it's for. And I have my collapsible cutting board so that the sexy camera lady doesn't cuss me out after I'm done seasoning this. I'm going to go pretty heavy. I know it seems like kind of a small cut of meat, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice these, not paper thin, but pretty thin. And so I'm not worried about over seasoning really. I want it to be pretty well seasoned so that when you just have a little bit of that bark in each bite, it's pretty flavorful. Okay, I'm going to try to get the sides here. You can kind of use it to kind of soak it up on the edges here. And so this is the Holy Cow. I'm going to let that kind of sweat. And then a little bit closer to when I put it on the pit, I am going to follow up with this steak rub from Killer Hogs. It's kind of just coarser. It's got some different herbs on it. But I'm going to kind of let the salt and stuff do its work, and then I'll follow up with that right before we put it on the grill. All right, here we are at the Weber. This is the real deal. I am currently on my back deck, and I'm afraid neighbors might be looking at me. So we're gonna go through this as quick as we can. Come on over here, camera lady. You can see I've got bits of some briquettes from my last cook. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to throw those away, but we're just gonna send it and see what happens. So I've got my charcoal basket here. This is a Walmart special. It's getting a little rusty. If a guy's birthday was coming up and his wife was wondering what to get him, a new Weber charcoal basket might be the answer. So these are kind of just some tumbleweeds from Royal Oak that I'm gonna use. And what I'm gonna do is I'm kind of hoping, again, it's probably not a great idea to do this on video and just try it out, but I'm just gonna leave that charcoal in there, see if it'll light. And I'm gonna do about 3/4 of my basket. Fill it up there. I'm gonna light my tumbleweeds. Usually I only do like 2 of them, but I figured go big or go home. These are tumbleweeds that I got when Temu told me I was special, and got a lot of free gifts from them that I ended up paying like $80 in shipping for. So, and then I'm just gonna put that on top of there. My vents on the Weber here are open all the way. You can see kind of the things. I just open them all the way for this part. And I'm just gonna leave the lid off, and we're gonna let those cook until you see flame shooting out of them or they're about ashed over. And then we'll be about ready to go. So we're gonna let that meat sweat until the grill's ready to go. It's gonna take about 20 minutes or so. All right, the wind's really picking up out there, and I think that charcoal is gonna be done here pretty soon. So I bet we got about 5 minutes away from putting it on the grill. I'm gonna hit it with this steak rub just to give it enough time to kind of adhere to it. The salt and stuff has kind of pulled this out so it's a little bit tacky. I'm going a little bit lighter with it. Forgot my glove. I'm just gonna go like this. Don't tell the government. And kind of give it just a light coating of this steak rub, kind of this herby, a little more crusty on it. And we're gonna let that sit, kind of pat it in a little bit, and then it's about ready to go on the smoker. So, you noticed that last video how it was just puke and smoke, like that's when it's really dirty. When it starts to clean up a little bit like this, you know it's getting really close to it. It's getting a lot hotter. I'm gonna take my charcoal basket that I called, or my charcoal chimney that I called a basket like 8 times in the last clip. And I'm just gonna sprinkle it around the top of my existing charcoal in there. I'm gonna set up a 2-zone fire. So I want a hot side and I want a cold side, and that's important. So I'm gonna put this in here, and then I'm gonna kind of give that time to heat up the grill, replace my grill grates, and we'll be ready to cook in the next couple minutes here. Okay, we got our Weber preheated. It's about 350 right over the coals. Okay, you might want to back up. This is gonna be hot. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a hot side and a cool side over here. So I'm gonna take my tri-tip that has kind of had a chance to let these seasonings kind of bind to it, and I'm gonna put it over here on this cool side and kind of touch it up a little bit with my rub. Out of my thing. This is a terrible idea because this is made of plastic. What could go wrong? Just kind of where my tongs hit it so it looks prettier. I'm gonna leave it on that cool side and let it just kind of cook the way you set it. Like it's gonna tighten up, and this is what it's gonna look like. So I want to kind of make it, if I'm trying to make it look pretty, which I'm not, I'm just gonna leave it just like that and close the lid, and I'm gonna come check on it in about 20 minutes and check our temperature. This is a reverse sear, so we're gonna take it to about 125-ish, which for some people is done, but for my family I need to take it a little bit higher. And then we'll sear it off and we'll be ready to go. All right, we're here. It's been about 20 minutes and our internal temperatures are right about where we want them. Get a good look at that. You can see our heat's really over here. So it's been off the heat, which is good because it doesn't burn. And our internals are right around 115, 120, which is right about where I want it. So I'm gonna bring it now over to the hot side. The good way, or the good thing about doing it this way is that rub has kind of had a chance to set, so hopefully it's not going to come off too much as I slide this over onto the heat, direct heat. And I'm going to leave it there for about 2 minutes aside, and we'll just kind of check it as we go. Okay, go ahead and turn it off. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes. So we're going to come in, kind of just carefully, we're going to flip it over. Beautiful crust on that side. I'm going to let it go a little bit long. So that bad boy smells incredible. Okay, cut it. Listen, it might be 81 in St. George, but it's hard to beat that view. Okay, we've gone about 2 minutes aside. Look at the beautiful color. I'm sure that in this lighting, the camera doesn't do it justice, but that looks and smells incredible. We're going to take it inside, put a little foil over it just to almost like tent it, just to kind of let it rest. We're going to let it rest for 10 minutes, and then we'll cut her up and devour it. Okay, sticking with the theme of I've never tried this before, so why not put it on camera for millions to view. I'm going to use this Papa John's garlic dipping sauce as kind of a compound butter while it's resting. So I'm just going to kind of drizzle this on a little bit while it's resting. And then I'm going to cover this up. I'll be honest, I had this idea as I pulled this out of the fridge to start the video. So, and then I'm just going to kind of tent it with foil. I want it to breathe. I don't want it to get all icky, but I want to keep that heat in there and just kind of let it rest for about 10 minutes. All right, now that the cupboards are closed, it's time to carve this bad boy up. And man, I wish that my camera was better so y'all could see how good this was. Now, if you remember, we kind of had that seam that kind of separated the two grains. I'm going to cut it about right here. And I've seen some people like make a mark so that's a little bit easier to see. I did not do that. Okay. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to put this side over here. Oh my goodness.
That looks like steak.
It does look like steak because that's kind of what it is, Hal. Okay. And then me and Hallie are going to try this. So I'm going to cut it kind of at a bias. I like to get it as kind of, I don't know, not paper thin, but I like it relatively thin, not like brisket slices. And we're going to cut it against the grain. All right, Hal. Dip that in there. You're the first to try it. What do you think? Sweet Gilligan's Island. That
So good.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, so good. Just like steak.
Just like steak, she says. Damon, get over here and try this. See what you think. Give her a shot. What do you think? Scale of 1 to 10.
11.
11! There you have it. Listen, kid approved.
Wait,
Come over here, Rhett. You try it too. Kyle, do you want to try it too?
Yeah.
All right, Mom, we hold the camera so Kyle can try it. Listen, we are nothing if not authentic. Hallie, did you eat more than one? Come on! We got to share it.
Mother.
Okay, boys, go ahead and try one of these.
Okay.
Yeah, you're bad, chap. Okay. So, we took this reverse sear. Listen, if you're not cooking on a Weber, what are you even doing? You got to try it out. We reverse seared this, so we kind of smoked it first and then seared it off at the end. Cooked it at a perfect medium. John, please come back so we can film together. That's going to do it for this time. Until next time, I'm Mike.
And this is the whole family.
And this is the whole fam-damly, and we are fat guys and kids with smokers.
Thanks for listening to the Fat Guys with Smokers podcast. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe so you don't forget to tune in for even more nonsense from a couple of Fat Guys with Smokers.
Don't forget to like, subscribe.